Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty, baby. Yes, we are ready to rock. We are ready to roll on a beautiful Tuesday. I hope you all are doing well on a beautiful Tuesday. Lots of things to talk about. Today will not be the normal kind of show because we're not going to be on nearly as long as we normally are. Always appreciate all of you out there taking some time to join us on the program. Remember, there are many ways to participate on the show. The text line, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. Yahoo email, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Of course, you got the YouTube chat board there. Always appreciate the super chats. And, of course, Cash App or Venmo is another way to make a donation. Cash Big O Show. And, of course, on Twitter, please follow us there at Big O Show. Don't forget, please subscribe to our YouTube broadcast. We are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Let's make that push for 10K, baby. So please join us on the run to 10K. All right. So last night, ugly scene for the Heat. Look, no Tyler, no Butler. So you kind of knew it was going to be a rough go. You know what I'm saying? And Jokic and his brothers came in. I kind of laugh at this whole thing because, and I'm going to be the old man on the lawn now, and I'm going to be, well, you know, in my day and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, if you're young, you didn't really live it. You can only go back and see the highlights or lowlights or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, the incident between Jokic, you know, and Markieff, it's nothing. I mean, it's a nothing burger, as they say. You know, it's just one of those things. When you lived the 80s and the 90s and you saw like real physical play, you know, and I'm sure young people hear it all the time. Well, you know, you hear it from your old man, you hear it from your uncle, your grandfather, all the wussification of this country and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, to a certain extent, it is true. You know what I'm saying? Look, football, we understand. You had to kind of humanize the game a little bit more, right? Because with football, it was we're causing long-term damage for our entertainment, you know. And I always say that football players are kind of like Roman gladiators, and the difference is that back in the day, you saw the gladiator die right there, you know, in the Colosseum, right there, you know. Now you don't. You see that warrior dies behind the scenes, and we don't deal with it. So in football, it's understandable that you had to kind of humanize the game a little bit more because of the shots that were happening. Now in basketball, you didn't have those kind of long-term effects unless, you know, we're talking about your knees and all that kind of stuff on the hardwood, but that's not the physical part of the game. That's just part of the game, period. You know what I mean? If you go out to the park every day, you know, for years and years and years, for decades, and go play on the asphalt, your knees are gonna obviously, it's wear and tear. It is what it is. But the game is so much softer now. There is no real physicality in this game. You know what I mean? It's hard when you hear somebody say, "Well, no, that game was physical." An older person will look at it and go, "Yeah, whatever, dude." You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So for me, the Markieff Morris cheap shot on Jokic, and then the cheap shot that Jokic did, although I kind of don't blame Jokic on that one. You know what I mean? Because Jokic could say, "No, I saw him, coming," but when you see somebody coming, you think they're going to go for the ball. They're not just going to truck right into you. It was dirty what Markieff did, and so Markieff deserved to get pushed. Quite frankly, let's just be honest. You know what I mean? If you want to be a homer and don't want to call it, that's fine. But no fireworks yesterday, which there wasn't going to be any fireworks. This isn't the 80s. This isn't the 90s where it was a whole different ball game. Retaliations took place. Hard things that are called flagrant twos now were called just fouls back then. Okay, that's just the way it was. It's a different game. So I don't look at this like it's something that was this big controversy and all that. I just think that those of us that kind of live the 80s and the 90s, we laugh at basketball nowadays when it tries to be intimidating or physical at any point because it's just not a physical game anymore. You know what I'm saying? So no fireworks yesterday. Look, they buried themselves in a deep deficit. They couldn't hit shots early. They didn't play good defense. No Butler, no Hero. Butler's got the tailbone bruise, I think it is, and Hero with the soreness. And I was thinking that it was more about resting him. And if he's missing, the second game, this isn't rest. This is, seriously, it's body soreness that he must have something, whatever it is that he has, but some kind of soreness wherever it is. But hey, listen, as important as he is, take your time to bring him back. You know what I mean? And listen, yesterday I was talking about why don't you rest Bam? And Bam had a pretty damn good game yesterday, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 6. It didn't start off that well. When he finally hit a shot, he was like, finally at the top of the key. That was kind of funny. Like, all right, it finally went in. He was a little frustrated up to a certain extent. I saw in that game, but overall, they're 13-8, 6-2 at home. There's only their second loss at home. No Butler, no Hero. It's kind of understandable. Hey, the Strus was loose. Hit 6 of 12 from 3-point range. Vincent again. Now he shot his overall percentage was bad at 5 of 13, but he did shoot 4 of 9 from 3-point range. So Gabe Vincent has become not become, but at least the last 3 games, kid's on a roll, dude. Let's give him a little love here, Gabe Vincent. So nice job there, but the deficit, and I give him credit. They never stopped. They never gave up. They played their asses off all the way down to the end. Lowry, 14 assists or some stupid thing like that? Yeah, 14 assists. They cut the lead and all of that. And by the way, it helped me. I want to thank the Heat because the 120-111 win, I ended up winning. I believe it was 3 bets. I lost 1. I took the Heat plus 4.5, and I ended up losing. But I told you guys about the live line. Right? So yesterday in the live line, I end up losing the 4.5 plus 4.5 for the Heat. But believe it or not, okay, it went plus 9.5. I took it for the Heat. It went plus 11.5. I took it for the Heat. And it went plus 13.5. And I took it for the Heat. So while I lost the 4.5, thinking, hey man, plus 4.5, I think that he can keep this close. I wasn't sure if they're going to win, but I thought, they could be competitive, and they were, on the back end, the second half, it was really strong for them. And then they stormed back. I got to be honest. I even thought those other bets I was going to lose. You know what I mean? But they ended up cutting into the lead, and I was like pleasantly surprised. So I won the 9.5, the 11.5, and the 13.5. So it was good. Plus, I ended up getting a Washington plus 1.5 last night, and I took Washington -1. I took that initially, Washington -1. I think it was one of Lee Sterling's picks. I did it on Sunday when he said it. I like that pick too, and I went with Washington. And then the live line came in, and Washington was was +1.5. And I said, well, wait a minute. If I'm gonna take it at -1, I'm gonna take it at +1.5. I felt good about Washington winning, and they were able to hang on. That's why I'm telling you that the live line on the Hard Rock app is the best way to kind of go about it. If you're not comfortable with the opening line, the initial line, then wait. Patience. Patience. Let the deals come to you. Kind of like what we talk about in crypto. You wait. You don't buy it on the parabolic run. You wait patiently, and eventually there's going to be a correction. And when that correction comes and it comes back down a little bit, that's when you jump right back in, and then you enjoy the run as it continues up to the top, as long as it's a good coin. Same thing here. Wait till you get the line you like. You know what I mean? If you don't get it, then don't bet it, and that's it. You don't have to do it. If you have to do it, then you might have a problem and you might need some help. You know what I'm saying? Remember, it's for entertainment purposes. So it's not life or death. So make sure, take it easy, baby. Take it easy. Take it easy. But they got the Cavs tomorrow. Cavs are a pain in the ass. They won't be easy, but it's a winnable game. Hopefully they'll get Butler, maybe even Hero back for that game. It would be nice to get those guys back, but there is an underlining thing that is developing with the Miami Heat that, listen, right now it's great to win, it's great to build up the record and all that good stuff, but you're developing a roster right now. And we're watching, and remember, no Markieff, right? No Jimmy and no Tyler. So now, and you lose a lot of juice with Tyler on the outside shooting. And Duncan, by the way, struggled again last night, 1 of 9 from 3-point range, 3 assists. But I mean, 1 of 9. I mean, he hasn't lived up to the contract now. It's maybe there's a little pressure on that contract, but last year he had a little bit of a slow start, and then he took out. He'll figure it out. I'm not worried. But my point is that you're in the process of developing Gabe Vincent and Max Strus to become not just competent, but consistent scorers off the bench. And the more 3-point shooters you can put out there and spread the floor, my Lord. And Gabe plays a little defense. And Strus has a, he has what we would call a little something to him. He'll play a little more. He plays a lot more defense than Duncan does. You know what I'm saying? He'll get dirty, and he is hungry to play defense. So part of defense is effort, and you get that from Strus actually. So you're also developing a little bit of a of the back end of that roster early in this season, and if these guys can continue this development, I mean, this only bodes well for the Miami Heat. I mean, it's going to be awesome that the more shooters you have to come off the bench in this league, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be awesome. And let me tell you something. I don't have to enlighten any of you on this. You all know this. But man, if they can get Oladipo back, they're going to be a good team regardless. If they get Oladipo back, that's an elite defender on the perimeter. That's a guy that can attack the rim. He's not a great shooter, but you don't need it, as I just told you. Duncan will figure it out. Strus and Gabe are going to help you out. Tyler's a stud. So now you've got enough shooting from the outside. PJ Tucker gives you some threes too. So you got enough guys that can actually provide. Markieff actually can hit a 3 or 2 every once in a blue moon. So you've got a couple of guys that can. You've got a lot of guys now that can shoot. You start getting even better when you add Depot. Well, if you add Depot, if he can stay healthy, obviously. If you can get Depot, oh my Lord. Let me tell you, they can be as good as anybody in the NBA. Okay? I don't know, Golden State's looking pretty good right now, There's a couple teams in the league, but what I'm saying is that they can be right, and they definitely can compete with anybody in the East, including Brooklyn. I agree with with Ira that the way it was constructed, you can match up against those guys. You've got defenders, and Depot would be so huge in those kind of Brooklyn and Milwaukee type of matchups. That would really help out a lot. Excuse me, had to get a little drink of water there. Appreciate all of you as always, keeping it locked here. Of course, you want to send in anything there on the chat board. Always appreciate it. Remember, you can send in your questions also in comments and complaints and insults. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. And again, smash that like button. It is very, very important that you smash that like button. So 121-11, we'll see if the boys can bounce back tomorrow against the Cavs. I'm hoping so. Hoping they have no Bones Highland off the bench lighting the heat up, because last night that kid was shooting well from the outside. Panthers back in action tonight against the Capitals. Now remember, Panthers have lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Capitals on Friday night 4-3. They just lost they got pounded by the Kraken. Seattle released the Kraken, and they ended up losing 4-1 there. So couple of speed bumps there in the road, but again, they've got a sick ass record, so it's all right. Both teams I think have 14 wins if I'm correct, so we'll see what happens tonight at Florida Live Arena, but that should be a lot of fun. I'll be, of course, watching Genesis while the Capitals are facing the Panthers, but I'll be checking my phone every once in a while in between a song that they're talking some crap. I'll grab the phone a second, go look at the score and all that good stuff. And by the way, you can check Twitter. Maybe I'll post a video or two or something from the Genesis concert tonight, because I'll be in Cleveland. I'm taking off this morning to Cleveland so I can go see Genesis. I'm gonna have what you call a fantastic 36 hours, because we're going to touch down in Cleveland. We're going to go over to the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame, or the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame, have some fun there in Akron, and then take off and come back and go to the Genesis concert at the Cavs arena, because, see, they don't need the arena because the Cavs are going to be here. So we're going to be there, and we'll watch Genesis, and then tomorrow morning we'll do the show from the hotel room, and then we'll go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then we'll hop on a plane and come back to Miami. So it's going to be, a quick 36 hours in and out, but at the same time, it's going to be a fun 36 hours. And again, if you live in Cleveland, I would love to meet you somewhere, whether it's the Genesis concert, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, all of that stuff. So send me a DM on Twitter at Big O Show. I'll be checking the DMs. I usually do when I'm on the road, and sometimes I end up meeting fans out there, and family members of ours, because everybody on this show, you're all part of the family. We're all one big, beautiful, happy family, which is awesome. So that'll be my next 36 hours, which I am very blessed to be able to enjoy, man. I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of Akron, that leads me to an interesting story that has Akron involved. So, University of Miami, as you all know, is in the middle of a search for an AD. Now, you listen, I am not going to tell you that this is a source. All right? But this person has some connections. And this is the second person I've talked to in the last couple of days. One person told me that they desperately and really want Mario Cristobal. Now, I'm going to paint a picture for you guys, because sometimes the portrait, like I tell you, sometimes with the Dolphins and Flo, the portrait's been painted for 3 years, and I've pointed out the different things on why Flo has really dropped the ball overall, and maybe he might not be the right guy. Well, let's look at the canvas right now, okay? So let me ask you something. First of all, let me tell you, a couple days ago, and as I told you yesterday on the show, somebody told me that's pretty well connected that they badly want Mario Cristobal. Like Lane Kiffin is the second option, but it's not really the preferred option. The preferred option is Mario Cristobal. That's who they want. Okay. So, spoke to another person yesterday. Again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not calling it a source, but the person is connected. Okay. They tell me the Mario Cristobal deal is done. They say it's just a matter of going through, finishing out the settlement to get Manny out and to move on, and then bring in Mario Cristobal. Now, Mario is a little worried and concerned about who the AD is going to be. That's also part of the whole thing there. It's the buyout of Manny, it's who's the AD, it's the final numbers of the contract and the years for Mario. This is what I'm being told. Okay? I don't know if it's true or not. I'm telling you again, I'm not using this as a source. I'm not saying it's a report, but there are a couple things that are happening. Here's the other thing. Let me ask you something. So Mario Cristobal has done a pretty damn good job overall at Oregon, right? How come his name isn't mentioned anywhere else? How come they're not saying come to TCU, come to LSU? How come they're not saying come to Notre Dame? How come they're not saying any of that? You notice that? So the only name that he could be associated with is University of Miami. It's interesting. Kelly just left and left Notre Dame to go to US to LSU. You got Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma to go to USC, right? But they're not talking about Cristobal to Oklahoma. They're not talking about Cristobal to any of those places. And I'm going to Cleveland. And of course, the Hall of Fame is in Akron, right? Well, Joe Moorhead is now the leading candidate and expected to be the head coach of Akron. Do you know who Joe Moorhead is? Joe Moorhead is the offensive coordinator of Oregon. Considered a really good offensive coordinator, considered a creative mind. Okay. He had a prior head coaching stop and it didn't go as well for him. But Moorhead now, has kind of resurrected himself, and now he's got an opportunity to go to Akron to be the Zips head coach. So Mario is not being mentioned in any other city, in any other college town for their jobs, really. And he's losing his offensive coordinator. Manny is kind of under the radar right now. I wonder what's so you start kind of again, you start looking at the canvas and you start trying to put the pieces together on what you're doing in this whole puzzle. And maybe there is something to this whole thing of Mario Cristobal and the deal's pretty much done. I don't know. I'm just telling you, you may want to, prepare yourselves. And let me tell you, I'll be happy for Mario. I hope he gets it done because Canes fans can be really cruel, and he has not won big at Oregon yet. And that's what they want you to do here. So he hasn't beaten SEC teams. Now, maybe at the U, he can get the kind of talent maybe he's not getting at USC. I mean, at Oregon. So at Oregon, he's not beating anybody in the SEC. So we'll see how it all works out because it could end up ugly for him too. You know what I mean? Because people are rough here. And that's why I was kind of like, maybe he's not the right guy for this place because the expectations are so over the top for Canes fans that it's really hard to satisfy them. But again, if you start looking at the puzzle, he's losing his offensive coordinator. He's not, if he's really up for another job, why wouldn't he be up for LSU? Why wouldn't he be up for Oklahoma? Why wouldn't he be up for in the same conference? Why wouldn't USC want to take away from Oregon the guy that is beating them in recruiting and other things? And they haven't. And is it because, no, no, he's settled in. He knows where he's going to go. I'm just saying, it just, it maybe this whole Mario Cristobal thing is real. And I let me tell you, at least there's one thing I know for sure. It'll prove me wrong that they really want to spend. Because then that means that whether it's Moss or in a minute, let me see. What was I'm looking at the text from somebody that sent me some info. What is it? It's what is it? Let me see here. Where is it at here? Wait a minute. Who's the other guy that? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Because it's not Moss. Who's the other guy? That's got the big bucks. That if it's not Moss, John Ruiz is the other one. So it's either Moss or Ruiz, and I'm hearing that it might be Ruiz is the guy that says, "Yeah, I'll pay off Manny, get him out of here. I want to get Cristobal." So I don't know, and that whole thing with Jurek and all that was kind of part of it. We'll see what happens if the whole Jurek thing is part of it or not. And I think it's been brushed aside. But either way, and I know Frank, and on the AD side, I don't know what they're going to do if it's going to be an AD with, a Highsmith or a Toretta or somebody like that, or it'll be Toretta or Highsmith being the AD. I don't think that's going to be the case. I still think they'll hire an AD and have like a Zara football, something like that. Maybe something like that. I know Barry was writing something about that today, but you start to kind of look at things. Maybe the Mario thing is real. Maybe they are going to really spend the big bucks. That's impressive. At least whether you like the Mario hire or not, I think most people are going to like it. He understands the university, he understands the culture, he understands the town. He's a monster recruiter. The guy will never sleep. So that's going to help out in a big time way. And by the way, he can build a staff. Because his offensive coordinator is leaving to get a head coaching job also. So he's been able to build a staff also for a few years over there at Oregon. So that's a good thing too. It's good to know that he can build a staff. You know what I'm saying? And he can recruit the crap out of kids. So that's going to be good. He's got to win. He's got to get it done. That's the monster of all monsters right there. He's got to be able to get it done, because if not, the pressure's on him. And if he doesn't get it done, then it becomes a real issue for Mario and this town and all that. And it's sad because, Columbus, local guy. It's kind of like the Manny thing. You wanted Manny to succeed because Manny understood the University of Miami, loved the University of Miami, and it didn't work out. We wanted Randy Shannon to work out because Randy was a former Cane, local guy, all that kind of stuff. He loves the university, and he meant well, okay? But it didn't work out either. So this is the third go-around with somebody that, at least is the second go-around with somebody that is specifically tied to the University of Miami. Diaz was a guy that was, aware of everything because he was local. So he understood the whole culture, and obviously he loved it and supported it. And I think that's why a lot of us wanted Manny to be the head coach. And unfortunately, we were wrong. He wasn't the right guy, just like Randy wasn't the right guy. Now we're going to find out if Mario can actually finish the job that Randy and, what's it called? Manny couldn't get done. So we'll see. Is it a done deal? Is the question. Because they're telling me it's a done deal. That it's just a matter of, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and all that kind of good stuff. And if that's the case, well, we'll see. If Mr. Ruiz or Mr. Moss are going to write the checks to get rid of Manny and pay him off, and then they can move on to the buyout for Cristobal with Oregon, and then obviously give him a major contract because it's going to be a monster contract. There's no doubt about that. So we will find out, ladies and gentlemen, if that's the case when it's all said and done. What else do we have going on? Dolphins and Giants. Remember, folks, we are now 4-0 at Bird Road in Sports Grill. So this week we got the Giants, 1:00 game. Dolphins favored by 3, over and unders 41.5. The Miami is on the money line -155. Giants are +130. That's at least early on in the week. We'll see how everything develops. Maybe Michael Dieter comes back, all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, I do want to remind you all, if you can, join us at Sports Grill, Bird Road, 114th and Bird Road, right off the Turnpike. Literally, it's 3 blocks east of the Turnpike exit. So come on out and join us, man, and we'll have a blast. It was great this week. Place was packed. Had a great vibe. Was able to talk with a lot of you during the game, which is great because we'll I go around the tables and talk and sometimes take pictures and all that kind of good stuff. But it's great. It's so good. It's building. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be awesome for all of us. That this is a tradition that we're going to start to build here. That now you're home for the Dolphins Sports Grill, and we can have a great get together every week for those that aren't going to go to the games or travel to the games. And instead of watching it at home, come on out, man. Come on out with your other family. That's us. And hang out and watch it and have some great food, have some fun, man. Really would love to see you all out there at the Sports Grill and Bird Road. Support us, man. Come on out and help us. We tell you to smash the like button, which, of course, please smash the like button, subscribe, help us to get to 10,000 subscribers, visit our sponsors. All of these kind of things are so incredibly important, folks. So we tell you all the time about that. So please help us out with that. That is incredibly important. What else do we have going on? By the way, before I get to some Dolphins talk, congratulations to the Marlins. They've made a couple of really nice moves. First of all, the Sandy Alcantara move is a great move. It's a move you're supposed to make. Okay. I'm not going to go out and make parades for you. You developed a kid. You're supposed to sign him, and you did. That's awesome. A 5-year reported $56 million deal. There's an option for a 6. Awesome. Okay. You got to sign one of your aces. Then they acquired a catcher, Jacob Stallings from Pittsburgh, a defensive catcher. They've got a couple of young guys that they're hoping some of those young guys might be better offensive catchers. This guy is, he's a decent hitter. It's nothing, out of this world, but defensively, he's all world. So that's really good to handle the staff, play defense. People aren't going to give you catchers that are hitting 30 home runs. There's only a few of those guys. And then they acquired Garcia, the outfielder, decent player, 30-year-old, career 270 guy, not a big splash. Okay. That's one thing they haven't made yet. They've gotten some solid pieces, but no star yet in free agency. And that's what I want to see. Are you going to add a star element to the team that really gives the offense, a jolt or two, actually? I actually would like you to sign 2 guys. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens with the Marlins. But at least I'll give them credit. They're making a couple of moves. But unless you give Kim Eng a real checkbook, I don't know how this thing ends up going where we all want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So sadly that's just the way it is, you know? But what are you going to do? But congratulations to them. At least they're making moves there in that sense. Got to drink a little water there. Don't forget, you could chime in on the text line 855-912-1056. Of course, on the chat board, any super chats. You want to make a donation, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. If you're watching on YouTube, the links are right there below. And if you're listening on the podcast, day or night, anytime, Cash Big O Show, if you want to make a donation and help us grow. A little Dolphins talk. So I noticed that they are praising Jalen Phillips now and Jalen Waddle now, and people are talking about Javon Holland, and it's interesting how a couple of weeks changes everything. And for a couple of weeks, that's all you needed of patience. That's it. You didn't really need to be patient for 5 or 6 years. Nobody was asking you that. But you got to give people a year or 2 or 3 to kind of develop. And some of these young guys have been here in the system a year or 2 or 3. And, now you start to see the fruits of Christian Wilkins has gotten better every year. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And Jalen Phillips, by the way, is developing nicely. And part of his struggles were also the coach's fault. They made him do more than he should at the beginning of the year. They wanted him to handle way more responsibilities than he handled at the University of Miami. Now they just unleashed the Kraken, and they just said, "Kid, go get after that quarterback. We're going to put you on downs where you got to go get the quarterback." And look what's happening. So you play to a player's strength. At least at this moment, he's young. You eventually he can develop into that player you want. It just doesn't happen overnight. And that's where the coach screwed up. Now they've corrected it, and you're helping your player. And now they've corrected the defense, and now you're helping your defense. You're helping your secondary, because now that you're attacking more, the secondary is having more opportunities to create turnovers. Sometimes it's the coach or coaches that don't do the things that properly put your players in position to be successful. And that's part of the issue. Now, on offense, Jalen Waddle has got to catch a lot of short passes, unfortunately, because the offense is what it is. It's not because he's limited in that sense. Obviously, he had a big play this past week. The kid can make huge plays for this team, but as the offense changes, then his game will evolve and he'll become an even bigger player. But for now, he's one of the reception leaders in the league. He's one of the best rookies in the NFL. He's clutch. He's money. But I just kind of laughed at, I don't know what the percentage was, but it seemed to me like, I got to admit, I don't know, maybe 5%, 10% of the people were with me on the front office thing, that it's not the front office. But most of you out there, you wanted to fire the front office. Some of you still want to fire the front office, which is, absolutely baffling to me. It was baffling to me 5 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, by the way. Okay. All of you overreacting, and especially the idiocy with some of you. Oh, Chris Cruz has been around for 15 years. Yeah, I've never seen, only here have I ever seen people blame someone that wasn't in charge, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? But whatever. I know in my heart that they have the right front office. They've got three guys in Greer, and Marvin Allen, and Reggie McKenzie that I know those guys are going to be able to build one hell of a front office for years to come. And Miami will enjoy the fruits of the labor. Now, they've got to get the right head coach. And that was the challenge for them. And I think, quite frankly, they failed in it. But what I laugh is that people don't have any patience whatsoever. So while there's improvement 2 straight years, all of a sudden the 1-7 run, everyone sucks. And the all these players can't play and the front office can't pick the players. No, that's not it. The players can play. The front office can pick players. It's the coaches that aren't developing these players. It's the coaches that made the mistakes of philosophically. And they're still making mistakes, like Matt Collins not playing. Stupid. It's ridiculous. These are things that make no sense whatsoever. And he'll keep doing this kind of stuff because that's what he's been doing for a while now. And it's just funny to me to see that the praise now, articles are being written. You got people on ESPN. You got people on the NFL Network. I'm watching praise on Twitter and this and that from all kinds of people. All the same people that were saying, well, the Dolphin organization, it's a disaster, this and that. No, they've got a coach that is on training wheels. That's all it is. Jalen Phillips can play. Brandon Jones can play. Their picks are fine. They'll figure out the offensive line. I'm not telling you all 5 of them are good, but as I've told you for a long time now, right, there's no way that all 5 linemen are bad. There's no way. Some have to be good. There's no way you're hitting on all the other picks and you're not hitting on the O lineman. That doesn't make any sense. So you draft Minka and you're forced to trade him because he doesn't get along with the head coach, and you go and draft Javon Holland. So you draft, the front office comes up with two. You realize that Chris Grier ends up drafting 2 of the best young safeties in the NFL. And Chris Grier is forced to trade him because of everything that happens with Flo. So you're going to tell me the guy that keeps finding players can't find offensive linemen? Get the hell out of here, dude. You're going to tell me Marvin Allen doesn't know offensive linemen and Reggie McKenzie doesn't know offensive linemen? Get the hell out of here. And everything's being proven right. And I'm glad that, that it's changing, obviously, because the last thing I want and you want is that really all the picks suck. Right? I mean, really, deep down inside, if you're a Dolphins fan, did you really want to be right that the picks were wrong? Did you really want to be right that Chris Grier can't make any picks? No, right? I mean, if you're a real Dolphins fan, you're happy you're wrong, right? I mean, if this whole Cristobal thing that I'm being told it's kind of a done deal already, if it's true, man, I'm super happy that I'm wrong. Because I still didn't believe that they were going to spend because they've never spent. And the thinking the last couple of days has been, oh, no, Manny's going to come back. And that's kind of what I was thinking, that they're not really going to spend. So then they'll say, well, Manny will come back for 1 more year. We'll reassess it. And then next year, whatever. That's what I thought was going to happen. Well, it's not what it's looking like. It's not looking like that, dude. It's looking like actually, you're going to actually spend the money and be the guy. And it's nice to be wrong. And I hope that that's how you feel now as you're watching the players develop, as you're watching them, maybe the front office, which, by the way, they just made another move with Philip Lindsay. Desperation, you need a running back. They found one. Help him out. Dude, that block on the Jalen Phillips big pass, that was huge. That's the front office doing that. We got a good front office, Dolphin fans. All right? It's the coaching staff that needs to be tweaked or changed or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it, whatever side you're at. Okay? Either Flo has to figure out how to get an offensive staff or you fire Flo. That's where we're at. It's either or. Although he does suck in challenges, he does make some other bad decisions. It's not just the offensive staff, by the way. There are other holes in his game. But let's just say some of you want to be patient with Flo, and that's understandable to a certain extent. For me, I have a problem with it because it's already been 3 years and it's a lot of changes, and I don't think it's going to change. But some of you are delusional and you think, in year 4, he's going to figure out the offensive coordinator, the O-line coach, and the QB coach because he doesn't have either one of those. Pretty important. Or you got to make the changes like I'm saying. But the players aren't the problem. The front office isn't the problem. You found your quarterback. So all that's left now is either you fix the coaching staff or you fire this head coach and go get another coach. That's what we're down to. That's what this equation is all about right now for the Miami Dolphins. Players are developing. Front office is fine. Got the quarterback. And by the way, I hope that as you're watching Tua play better and better behind a terrible line and no running game, by the way, and no offensive coordinator, no QB coach, no line coach, but as you're watching him get better, I also hope you're happy that you're wrong about Tua. Because there's a crap ton of you that are wrong about Tua. A crap ton. Okay? Nothing wrong with being wrong. Nothing at all. You know why? We're human beings. And it's sports. It's hard. It's hard to be perfect in sports and have the right opinion about everything and all that. You're going to get stuff wrong. So I hope you're happy about being wrong about Tua. I hope you're happy about being wrong about the overall personnel. I hope you're happy that you're wrong about the front office. Because that's the way you should feel. But and I got to tell you something. As a Dolphins fan, it's fun to see that people are realizing that, you know what, this team was mismanaged early, and this is why they ended up in this position, which is another problem for Flo. But again, that's different. But now they're at least seeing, wait a minute, things were mismanaged. Now it's a different team. Actually, this is more like the team we saw last year. Unfortunately, kind of like the Heat game last night, bring it full circle. They waited too long to kind of play better and turn it on like they did last night, that they had a much better second half. They were completely professionals in that second half, which was huge. You know what I mean? You got to give them credit. It's strong on their part, that they were able to do that. So I give them credit there. All right, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the program. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Please subscribe to the show and smash that like button. Very, very, very important that you smash the like button, okay? Fins, by the way, released Evan Boehm, the guard. Question is now, if you release Boehm, I don't know if that affects the Dieter move, but Dieter did practice last week. And if there's a little bit of a concern we have right now, I mean, we have a lot of concerns on the offensive line, but there were a couple of bad snaps. Ryder ended up getting banged up in this game. Cameron Tom came in. So you've played, 4 centers so far this year. And Dieter practiced last week. I know Omar told us yesterday that he wasn't looking, let's say, as mobile as he should. I think I'm kind of paraphrasing it, what Omar was saying, that he didn't look as fluid as he should. And so that's the question. Where is he this week? Is he healthy enough? Is he fluid enough to actually play against the Giants? Because it would be nice. And as I told Omar yesterday, the best part about hoping to get Dieter back and for these final 5 games is if you can get him back and he can play well, then you start to settle in on that position. And you say, well, you know what? We do have our center. The guy can play center. We're good. Okay? You go get a real offensive line coach next year, and you can make Dieter a much better center. And then hopefully you'll figure out the other guys too. And as I told you, we'll figure out in time, that guy can play. That guy can play. This guy can't. That guy can't. And then things will settle out. And it'll be normal because you're going to miss on some of them. But they're not going to miss on all of them. I'm sorry. I'm just, that's just something that I can't believe. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you can get a donation, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let me rest the voice a minute. Give me a couple of minutes here. We'll come back with more right here on the Big O Radio Show. For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back. Thank you all for hanging in there. As always, appreciate all of you out there. Thank you for joining us on the program on a beautiful Tuesday, November 30th. We are going to Cleveland right after this. We are headed out to Cleveland to go see Genesis tonight. Looking forward to that. By the way, Washington beat Seattle last night, 17-15. And a couple things that I want to mention, and something that kind of reminds me of the Dolphins too. One, obviously, Washington is a disaster of a franchise. But I will say this. I think Ron Rivera at times is squeezing wine out of rocks or something with what, he's done with Tyler Henneke and or is it Tyler or whatever? Anyways, Henneke, the Henneke kid. And things are bad in Seattle. I mean, it's so bad that they're already talking about Russell Wilson out of here. He's done, which kind of makes sense because it looks like Russell they're in the middle of a rebuild. Had my cough drop. Got to take care of the throat, man. Anyway, so they're in the middle of a rebuild, and yesterday they end up losing 17-15, which, by the way, had Washington. Thank you on that one. And you're watching that game, right? And when they would cut in and out of the stadium shots and all that, and we grew up watching that stadium always packed, not that one, but RFK. And Jack Kent Cooke Stadium was smaller. It was like 55,000. So they got this bigger stadium. And and over the years, and it's interesting because I love how people pick on our town. They say, "Oh, well, we're not good fans," and South Florida fans are great fans, but they're demanding fans because you live in a good town. We're not going to go see your product just because you're here. No, you have to actually entertain. If you want our money, you got to earn it. You know what I mean? And for many years, Washington had Joe Gibbs and had winning seasons. Joe Gibbs did something that he actually did. He actually had the greatest feat any NFL coach could ever have. It's not Don Shula's perfect season. I know it's blasphemous to say this, but the man won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. To me, that's the hardest thing I've ever seen any coach do at the NFL level is do that. Okay. Win 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, none of them Hall of Famers. That's awesome. It's pretty impressive. But everything that Joe Gibbs built has been completely destroyed. And when you take those camera shots of the stadium and you see it's not full, and then you see it's all tarped up in the 3rd floor, all the way around, they have all those tarps, and it looks like a frame around the top of the stadium, but it's really tarps. And it's that embarrassing that thousands and thousands of seats have to be covered up because the Redskin fan is tired of stinking Daniel Snyder. And the NFL can't do anything about it. And with this whole fiasco that just happened, you'd figure they'd have an opportunity to get rid of him. I wonder what the hell does he have that the league doesn't want to get released, because that's a bad owner. That's a guy that should not be part of this league. Okay? And in a way, it reminds me a little bit of the Dolphins too. It does. I hate to say this. Okay? Although our fans are much more supportive even through bad times than Washington fans. Okay? Miami fans are actually way better than Washington fans at showing up. And Miami fans, again, are very demanding. But everything that Don Shula built has been destroyed the last 20 years. 25, actually. That's the sad part. And in a way, Snyder has been trying to rebuild. He even brought back Joe Gibbs to try to, resurrect it. And Wayne Huizenga obviously was, he tried his best with Saban and Jimmy and Parcells and all that stuff. And then so Huizinga couldn't do it, and now Ross hasn't been able to do it yet. I still think if they find the right coach, I think they'll be all right. But it's a strange thing, right? That when franchises were great, and then all of a sudden they lose that luster, they lose that shine, and they've got to try to get it back again. And it's hard, man. It's hard. And the Dolphins haven't been able to find their way yet. And you see Washington. And last night I saw that, and I'm seeing the cutaways from the breaks coming in and out, and they're showing the stadium, and you're like, boy, tell you talk about Washington and Miami. Those were two of the marquee franchises in the NFL back in the day. It's weird, but the similarities are there. And Ross's job, I have more hope for Ross figuring it out than Daniel Snyder, because Daniel Snyder at least Ross has shown me that he's flexible. He'll change. He'll try to do different things. He'll listen to his people. But Dan Snyder obviously has treated everything like it's been, a what's it called? A fantasy team, basically, is the way he's treated things. But yeah, watching that game yesterday gave me a little reminder of that. So Brian Kelly leaves to LSU. And I got to tell you something, and I know they're going to give him a boatload of money, and they backed up 8 Brinks trucks and all that stuff, and LSU's got a lot of money. Do you blame him? I don't. I mean, he's a damn good coach. Did a great job at Cincinnati, did a great job at Notre Dame. It's hard to win it all at Notre Dame. Academically, it's a little harder there than in some other schools. And so it just becomes a little bit more of a challenge at Notre Dame. It's funny in his letter to his players, that, you've made the program elite and all that. And it is a very good program. I don't know if I would call it elite because, you're not really challenging for a national title on a consistent basis. There's only a couple of elite programs. But here's the thing. Here's where I can't blame him. And here's where I commend him. Okay? He's going to the SEC. He's not shying away from competition. He's going to the game's highest level, which is the SEC. Now he's got to deal with Saban every year, and he's got to deal with Kirby, and he's got to deal with Texas A&M, and he's got to deal with Auburn, and he's got to deal with Ole Miss, and it's a pain in the ass, dude. You know what I mean? You don't get to play Tennessee and Vanderbilt every week. They've got some pretty damn awesome teams in the SEC, and it's only going to get better now, right? Because they're adding 2 teams down the line. So I give him a lot of credit for going from Cincinnati to Notre Dame and now LSU. He is not afraid of the challenges. And that's pretty cool on his part. The guy was able to recruit to Cincinnati. He was able to recruit to Notre Dame, and he can easily recruit to LSU. All he needs now is to get a couple of those guys that are badass recruiters in that area. You got to have some guys that are well connected in the South, and that they're hitting Georgia and Florida and Alabama, and they're hitting all these states and Mississippi and getting the top talent in some of these states and beating Saban and others for some of the top talent, which is a bitch of a challenge. But I give him credit, okay? And this whole thing about, he's leaving Notre Dame and he's leaving the kids. And I don't blame him, dude. I don't blame him. He's, to his credit, he's taken on a bigger challenge, taken on more responsibility and criticism that he could have his way. And he could set himself up even more for failure. He could stay where he's at, play some ACC, play an easier conference, all of that. And still have the excuse of Notre Dame too, because of the academics. At LSU, there are no excuses. You have all the resources. You're in the best conference. You're in a school where multiple coaches have won titles. So it's proven that it can be done. Pressure's on. But I commend them for making the move. Lincoln Riley going to USC. He's probably more Hollywood than he is Midwest. His offenses are more Hollywood. His explosiveness, his Heisman's, all that. He's Mr. QB guru. USC, you kind of grew, at least as a kid growing up, you kind of knew that USC would always have quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? And that guy he's the quarterback guru right now. He's the guy that quarterbacks want to go play for. So now whatever he was recruiting out of Oklahoma is going to transfer over, and all those kids in California that play quarterback, and people are always going to California to go steal a quarterback. Miami's done it in the past. Well, there you go, dude. USC is a perfect spot for that. I understand. Oklahoma's a great school, great program, great job, no doubt about it. But USC is a nationwide name. And that is Hollywood. It's kind of like a pro team. It'll get that kind of love. Okay. It's got an opportunity at an easier conference too. So I don't blame him. It really goes with who he is. All that flash, perfect for USC. Whether it works out or not, I don't know. But these kind of moves, I understand it, man. Makes a lot of sense. It really does. Another thing that I saw that was that kind of sad is Tiger Woods. And Tiger was addressing, coming back from the injury and all that stuff, that his days as a full-time pro golfer are probably over. And that's sad. The good thing is it looks like he might be able to return and play in a couple tournaments, and fans will get to see him. But I'd like to say something about Tiger that, I was critical of Tiger in his career when the whole Elin Nordegren thing, and he kind of became a recluse and kind of disappeared. And I thought that was kind of soft on his part, and he's not soft because he won, was it the US Open? I think it was, like on one knee. You know what I mean? I mean, the dude's tough, obviously. But I thought it was kind of soft on everything that went on, and he kind of disappeared. But then he made that comeback. And it took a lot of balls to make that comeback because of the public criticism and everything that was, heaved at him. And, the whole incident with the cheating and the 100 women and, banging Stuckey's waitresses all over the country and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really rough time for him that he went into kind of a shell, but he didn't stay in that shell. And that would have been the weak part of him if he would have stayed in that shell. And to his credit, and this is where I give him a ton of credit, he went back and obviously was able to even win a green jacket and everything. And he proved, we all knew he was, if not the greatest, one of the greatest ever. And that was a GOAT-like move. And I know he's had some bad luck. I will have a suggestion for him. Please, Tiger, don't ever drive again. Have a driver for you all the time. Dude, you have no luck in cars. Okay? All right? Escalades, whatever it is, you have no luck in cars. So please, all right? You had that DUI incident and all that. He's had a lot of adversity that he's come back from. And he's proven in the end, where I thought it was kind of soft when he went into that shell right away after the Elin Nordegren thing. He's proven he's actually one of the more mentally tough athletes that I've ever seen, because it's not so much that you come back from an injury. It's not so much that you come back from some kind of a setback or all of that, or anything emotionally that happens to you in life that people know about it. Public divorces got to be ugly. You know what I mean? Most of us, if we have to get a divorce, it's private. Only your local, close friends, family members are the only ones that know about it. When you're like this, everyone knows about it. Everybody's in your business. It's tough. And then all the public ridicule and everything that he took on, and some of it deserved. Okay, he deserved to get ridiculed and ripped for some of the stuff that went on. I understand all of that, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I understand it. But I'll say that he was able to bounce back from all of that. And I thought that's man's man stuff right there when you're able to do stuff like that. So I give him a lot of props. I hope he's able to play in a couple tournaments so the huge Tiger fans can see him one more time. Hopefully he'll end up on the senior tour and have a couple of whacks there. He doesn't really need to prove anything else. That's the beauty of Tiger right now. Whenever he chooses to never play again, he has nothing left to prove. He's done everything he can possibly do. I don't think anybody needs to see anything more. The only thing is that if you never got to see him in his heyday, then that part that's the part that hurts, unfortunately, for those of you that are monster golf fans. And not that I'm this monster golf fan, but I am an admirer of somebody that is able to overcome adversity, that fights through adversity, that does not give up. And to me, that's the part that I will always appreciate. That's the thing I will admire about Tiger, that yes, he made his mistakes, some really ugly mistakes. We all do. We're all human beings. It happens. Maybe to not his extreme, but we all make mistakes. The idea is to kind of bounce back from them and try to be a better person from them. And to his credit, he's done his best to bounce back, man. So I got to give him a lot of credit. Folks, it is time to wrap it up here on the show. I told you it would be a short one because we're traveling today, but I appreciate all of you out there, as always, for hanging in there with us. We will see you tomorrow morning. All right, tomorrow morning we'll rock and roll again. We'll be doing it from Cleveland in a hotel room, so it'll be a different background this time around. But appreciate all of you out there, as always. Don't forget, please smash the like button. It is very important you smash the like button. Subscribe, whether you're listening to the podcast, watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us get to 10,000. If you want to make a donation, whether you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And of course, it is the man, the myth, the legend that is Sean Stanley. Thank you, sir. As always, you are absolutely awesome. We love Sean Stanley, always getting it done here on the program. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.